Stop comparing yourself to others. A Stoic lesson. What if the race you're running was never meant for you? Have you ever had that sinking feeling that what you're doing isn't enough? You scroll through your phone and suddenly it seems like everyone else has it figured out. Someone is traveling the world, someone just bought a new car, someone just got married, someone's business is booming, and there you are, just trying to get through the day. Comparison sneaks in like a whisper. You should be doing more. You're falling behind. Look at them. What's wrong with you? And even if you were feeling okay before, suddenly you're not. But here's a gentle reminder you may need to hear today. What if the race you're running was never meant for you? Modern life is wired to make us compare. Social media, advertising, even casual conversations often feel like a scoreboard. We measure our worth in followers, likes, achievements, titles, income. We chase milestones we never questioned. And deep down, we wonder, why do I feel so empty? The Stoic philosophers warned us about this centuries ago. They knew how dangerous it is to tie your peace to someone else's path. Seneca said, "If you live according to nature, you will never be poor. If you live according to opinion, you will never be rich." Think about that. If you live by what's true for you, what you value, what you need, you already have enough. But if you live by what others expect or appear to have, you will never feel like enough. Because there will always be someone with more success, more beauty, more followers, more things. But Stoicism invites us to look deeper. It asks, what do you actually control? And the answer is simple: your thoughts, your choices, your values. You don't control what someone else earns or how fast they reach their goals. You don't control the highlight reels posted online. You don't even control what other people think of you. So why suffer for something that was never yours to control in the first place? Epictetus put it beautifully. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And comparison is a reaction, a habit of the mind. It pulls us away from the present. It blinds us to what we've already achieved. It poisons gratitude, and it tricks us into running a race that doesn't lead to peace, but exhaustion. So let's pause, take a breath, let the noise settle, and ask yourself, who am I really running for? Are your goals truly yours, or are they borrowed from someone else? Are your dreams rooted in meaning or in fear of being left behind? Because if the ladder you're climbing is leaning on the wrong wall, reaching the top won't make you happy. It'll make you tired, bitter, and confused. The Stoics remind us, peace doesn't come from winning the race. It comes from stepping off the track. You are allowed to go at your own pace. You are allowed to want less. You are allowed to redefine what enough means. Marcus Aurelius, a man with power over an empire, still reminded himself daily, very little is needed to make a happy life. That truth hasn't changed. What's needed is not more, but less comparison, more clarity. Less chasing, more presence. Less pretending, more purpose. So today, ask yourself, what race am I running? And do I even want to win it? You may find that the path to freedom isn't forward, but inward, and that the life you've been longing for doesn't require you to catch up with anyone. It just asks you to come home to yourself, because once you do, you'll stop measuring your worth by someone else's journey. You'll start choosing based on your own truth. And finally, beautifully, you'll be free. In a world that's constantly shifting, it's easy to feel like you're being tossed around by forces far beyond your grasp. Other people's moods, market trends, societal expectations, random misfortunes, or even just the weather. There's so much we can't predict, so much we can't control. And yet the Stoics remind us of a radical, powerful truth. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Epictetus. This isn't just an old quote from a forgotten philosopher. It's a lifeline for anyone drowning in overwhelm or anxiety today. Because when you understand what you truly can control and what you cannot, life begins to feel lighter. The noise fades, the fog clears, and in its place, peace begins to settle. Let's slow down here and ask the simplest question of all. What can you really control? You can't control how someone sees you. You can't control how fast someone else succeeds. You can't control the past or the future or what others believe, expect, or demand from you. But you can control your response. You can control your own effort, your discipline, your values, your mindset. And perhaps most importantly, you can choose the meaning you give to what happens around you. That's where your power lives. Imagine you're walking through a storm. You can't stop the wind. You can't stop the rain. But you can choose to walk with calm steps. You can hold your coat tighter, take shelter, and keep moving forward without letting the storm decide how you feel inside. This is the heart of Stoicism. It doesn't teach us to be emotionless or passive. It teaches us how to stay steady, grounded, and free, even when life refuses to go our way. It's easy to fall into the habit of obsessing over everything outside of us. Likes on a post, someone else's opinion, the success of a competitor, or what might happen next month. And yet, how much of that actually lies in your hands? Trying to control the uncontrollable is like chasing the wind. It leaves you exhausted, bitter, and always behind. But shifting your energy toward what you can control, that's when the transformation begins. Instead of comparing, you focus on becoming. Instead of reacting, you begin responding. Instead of worrying about outcomes, you commit to the process. The Stoics called this way of living the inner citadel, a place inside you that remains untouched by the chaos outside. When Epictetus lost everything, his freedom, his comfort, his safety, he didn't collapse. He turned inward. He practiced owning his thoughts, his attitude, and his actions. That's what gave him true power. And that's what you can practice too. Every day you're given 100 chances to ask yourself, am I focused on what I can change, or am I wasting energy on what I can't? Am I taking ownership of my actions, or am I blaming the world for how I feel? Am I nurturing my character, or getting lost in chasing approval? When you begin to live this way, something subtle but beautiful happens. You stop being shaken so easily. You stop being pulled in 1,000 directions. You start living with intention, with clarity, and with peace. And you begin to notice, the less you try to control the world, the more you begin to own yourself. This is not about giving up. It's about choosing wisely where your energy goes. It's about learning that serenity isn't the result of a perfect life, but of a disciplined mind. So if you've been feeling scattered or stuck, come back to this one question. Is this within my control? If it is, act with courage. If it's not, release it with grace. In that quiet decision lies your strength. In that simple awareness lies your freedom. And in living this way, moment by moment, you begin to embody what the Stoics taught, not just in theory, but in how you carry yourself through this unpredictable, beautiful life. In an age where everything is measured, likes, followers, awards, income, and milestones, it's tempting to think that our worth lies in what the world sees, that success is something others give you when you reach their expectations. But Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, offered a radically different view. He didn't measure himself by the empire he ruled, the wars he won, or the honors he received. He measured himself by something far deeper, his inner standards. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor. Marcus Aurelius. What does this mean? It means true poverty isn't a lack of possessions. It's a hunger that never ends, a desire for more, always more, without ever asking, why do I want this? Marcus saw the emptiness in chasing status, luxury, and praise. Despite having all of Rome at his feet, he chose to live with simplicity. He wrote to himself, not to impress, but to stay honest. In his meditations, he reminded himself over and over that virtue is the only thing that truly matters. So what are inner standards? They're the quiet rules you live by when no one's watching. They're how you treat others when you gain power, how you respond to failure, how you carry yourself in moments of chaos. They aren't given by society, they come from within. To live by inner standards is to ask, am I acting with courage? Am I being just and fair? Am I guided by reason, not impulse? Am I aligned with my values, even if no one notices? This is the path Marcus walked, and it's not a path for applause. It's a path for peace. When we chase external things, recognition, titles, money, we place our self-worth in the hands of others. We become fragile, dependent, always comparing. But when we turn inward and judge ourselves by how virtuous we are, how kind, disciplined, honest, and resilient, we build a different kind of strength, an unshakable kind. Because no one can take away your character. No economy, no opinion, no misfortune. That's why the Stoics taught, focus on being good, not looking good. There's a quiet power in living this way. You stop trying to be impressive and start trying to be real. You stop needing the world's applause because your own approval is enough. Marcus Aurelius led armies, governed an empire, and faced plagues, betrayal, and loss. But he didn't let any of that define him. What defined him was this: he remained calm in crisis. He treated people with dignity, even those who tried to harm him. He reflected daily on his actions, asking not, "What did I gain?" but "Did I live with integrity?" That's the power of inner standards, and it's something you can practice every day. You don't need to be a philosopher or an emperor. You just need to slow down and ask, am I chasing what's fleeting or standing for what's timeless? Am I choosing virtue even when no one's watching? Am I measuring myself by the depth of my character or by the numbers on a screen? This kind of honesty isn't always easy, but it's freeing. It helps you sleep better, walk lighter, speak softer, and live stronger. Because your worth isn't based on how much you own or who applauds you. It's based on how much you live by your principles. That's what Marcus taught us, not through sermons, but through how he lived, how he ruled, and how he thought in the privacy of his journal. So if today you're feeling lost in comparison, burned out from chasing, or tired of trying to prove yourself, come back to this. You already have what you need. All that remains is to live it. There's a quiet ache that slips into the mind when you scroll through someone else's perfect vacation, flawless body, or shiny success story. It whispers, "Why not me?" It's called envy. And it doesn't shout, it simmers, slowly, quietly, pulling you away from peace and toward a place where someone else's life becomes the measurement of your own. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher and advisor to emperors, knew this pain well. He lived in a world of power, wealth, and ambition. But he also saw the silent poison that comparison brings. No man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by prosperity, Seneca. And envy, at its core, is a kind of deception. It tells you that someone else's success diminishes your worth, that someone else's beauty, talent, or luck somehow leaves you with less. But Seneca saw through that illusion. He understood that envy is not really about them, it's about you. It's about the parts of yourself you've neglected, the dreams you've abandoned, the progress you've forgotten to notice. Envy, in truth, is just misguided admiration. It's potential turned sideways. When you feel envy, you're not really wishing to take someone else's life. You're longing for a version of your own life that feels meaningful, proud, and fulfilled. But here's what the Stoics knew. You can't build your life by staring at someone else's. Seneca would urge you to bring that attention back home, to your own path, your own talents, your own character. Because the truth is, others' success is not your failure. Their gain is not your loss. You are not late. You are not behind. You're just on a different road. And if you can learn to admire without comparing, to celebrate without resenting, you begin to free yourself. Imagine if you could see someone else's achievement and simply say, "That's possible for them." And something beautiful is possible for me too. No bitterness, no jealousy, just inspiration. That's what happens when you understand that comparison is an illusion. You don't know their full story. You don't carry their burdens. You don't see the price they paid to get there or what it's costing them to stay. Seneca reminds us, the things that glitter on the surface often carry a weight underneath. Fame can be lonely, wealth can be fragile, beauty can be fleeting. The question is not, do they have it better? The question is, am I living true to myself? And that's where Stoicism shines. It brings your focus back to what you can control, your thoughts, your values, your work, your choices. Envy pulls you outward. Wisdom brings you inward. Seneca wrote not just to lecture others, but to remind himself of these truths. In his letters, he returned again and again to the idea that peace is found in self-mastery, not social comparison. So the next time envy creeps in, don't shame yourself. Don't run from it. Just pause and look closer. Ask, what is this really telling me? Maybe you're longing for more growth. Maybe you've forgotten your own progress. Maybe you're comparing your first chapter to someone else's middle. Whatever it is, the answer isn't out there. It's in you. Because you don't need their path. You need your own. You don't need their approval. You need your own peace. You don't need to outshine anyone. You just need to honor your journey. Seneca knew that envy clouds the mind, narrows the heart, and distracts the soul. But admiration, true admiration, can lift us. Not because we want to be someone else, but because we're reminded of what we're capable of becoming. So instead of saying, why not me, say, what can I learn? What do I want to grow in myself? What's my next step, no matter how small? That shift changes everything. Because when you stop measuring your life by someone else's milestones, you begin to live fully in your own. And that's where freedom begins. We live in a world that tells us to chase more, chase better, chase what they have. But the Stoics had a different idea, one that invites you to slow down and turn inward, not to escape the world, but to master your place in it. They believed that daily habits done with intention could train the mind like a muscle, making it stronger, calmer, and more free. Let's explore 3 of those habits: daily journaling, negative visualization, and voluntary discomfort. They're simple, but they're not easy, and they just might change your life. First, daily journaling. What did I do well today? At the end of each day, take a quiet moment and ask yourself, what did I do well today? Not to boast, not to judge, just to reflect. This is the practice Marcus Aurelius followed, writing in his journal, not for others, but for himself, to keep himself honest, to notice where he grew, where he stumbled, and where he could do better tomorrow. You don't need fancy words, you just need truth. Maybe you stayed calm during a tense conversation. Maybe you showed up for someone. Maybe you simply made it through a hard day without giving up. Write it down. Why? Because progress is often invisible when you're in the middle of it. Journaling gives you proof that you're becoming someone stronger, step by step, day by day. And on the hard days, you'll have those words to return to, a reminder that you are growing, even when it's hard to see. Second, negative visualization. Appreciate what you have by imagining its absence. Seneca called it premeditation of evils. But don't let that scare you. It's not about being morbid, it's about being grateful. Each day, pause and imagine, what if I lost this? What if today was the last time you hugged that person? What if tomorrow you woke up and didn't have your health, your home, your job? Not to create fear, but to create presence. Because the truth is, you already have so much. But when you forget the fragility of life, you stop seeing its beauty. By visualizing loss, not obsessively, but gently, you train your heart to cherish the ordinary. You stop taking things for granted, you eat slower, you listen deeper, you love better, and gratitude begins to bloom, not from having more, but from needing less. Third, voluntary discomfort. Train your desires by going without. This one is tough, but powerful. Every now and then, deny yourself something you want. It could be as simple as taking a cold shower, skipping a meal, wearing plain clothes, walking instead of driving. Why? Because comfort is addictive. And when you always get what you want, you begin to fear the moment you don't. The Stoics believed that by practicing discomfort voluntarily, you prepare for it involuntarily. Seneca wrote, "Set aside a number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" It's not about punishing yourself. It's about proving to yourself that you can endure more than you think, that you don't need luxury to be at peace, that your happiness doesn't depend on external comfort, but internal strength. And once you know that, really know that, you become free. Free from cravings, free from comparison, free from fear. These 3 practices, journaling, negative visualization, and voluntary discomfort, aren't just habits, they're tools. Tools that sharpen your awareness, strengthen your character, and reconnect you to what really matters. And the best part? You don't need a guru. You don't need permission. You just need 10 quiet minutes a day and the willingness to look inward. That's how the Stoics trained their minds, not by escaping life, but by meeting it fully, with presence, gratitude, and courage. So tonight, as you close your eyes, ask yourself, what did I do well today? What would I miss if it were gone tomorrow? What's one small comfort I can go without? Just to remind myself that I can. Practice that. Repeat it. And slowly, quietly, you'll feel a shift, a deeper peace, a stronger self, a life lived from the inside out. Because greatness doesn't come from what we gain, it comes from what we choose to let go, and what we choose to see clearly, again and again with an open heart. There's a quiet pressure that lives in modern life. It whispers to you through ads, through social media, through the endless scrolling of curated perfection. You should look like this. You should want that. You should be more, louder, richer, prettier, faster. It's constant, it's invisible, and it shapes our choices without us even noticing. But here's the question. What if the person you're trying to become isn't even someone you want to be? What if you're just becoming who the world rewards? This is where Stoicism enters, not as an escape, but as a compass, a way to return to yourself in a world that keeps pulling you away. The temptation to conform. In every era, humans have struggled with the urge to belong. We crave acceptance, it's natural. But when that craving turns into conformity, when we start to silence our values just to earn applause, we lose something vital, our inner freedom. Seneca put it plainly, it is better to be despised for simplicity than to be tormented by continual hypocrisy. In other words, don't trade your peace for popularity. Est quam videri, to be rather than to seem. This Latin phrase captures one of Stoicism's deepest truths, be rather than seem. It means live in alignment with your principles, not just to impress others, but to honor yourself. Don't try to look wise, be wise. Don't perform kindness, be kind. Don't appear calm, cultivate calm. There's a huge difference between appearance and reality, and only one of them brings lasting peace. The Stoic doesn't care how many followers he has. He cares how well he followed his own values, because that's what lasts when the applause fades. Autonomy of thought. Epictetus taught that our minds are our own. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You don't control what others value. You don't control what trends tomorrow, but you do control what you believe. And that's where power begins. Start asking, do I really want this? Or do I just want to be seen wanting it? Would I still do this if no one noticed? Is this decision mine? Or just what's expected of me? These questions don't weaken your identity, they reveal it. Quiet progress over loud praise. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the world, yet his personal writings weren't about fame or legacy. They were about humility, clarity, and staying true to what's right. He reminded himself, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. And if that's not a lesson for our time, I don't know what is. You don't need the world to validate you. You don't need to win the race that everyone else is running. You just need to walk your own path, quietly, steadily, truthfully. That's mastery. That's freedom. Measuring success differently. What if success wasn't about applause? What if it was about peace of mind? The Stoic wise man doesn't compare his journey to others. He compares it to his own past self. He asks, am I more honest than I was last year? Am I more kind, more patient, more resilient? If yes, then that is success, and if not, that is a lesson. Reclaiming yourself. The truth is, the more you conform, the more you disappear. But when you live by principle, when your actions match your beliefs, you come alive again. You become whole again. And the opinions of others, they still exist, but they no longer control you. You walk into a room not wondering how you look, but how you live. You post not for likes, but for truth. You choose not what is popular, but what is right. And in that choice, day after day, you reclaim your life. So ask yourself, who am I when no one's watching? What values would I still hold if I were invisible? That's the person worth becoming, not because they're admired, but because they're real. And real peace doesn't come from the crowd, it comes from within. There's a silent war being waged in so many hearts today, the war of comparison. You scroll, you glance, you hear, and suddenly someone else's achievement becomes a silent whisper in your ear. You're behind. You're not enough. You should be further by now. But let's pause, let's breathe. Let's remember something the Stoics knew deeply. You are not in competition with anyone else. Your life is not a race. It's not a leaderboard. It's not a chart with rankings and medals. It's a journey. Yours alone. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor yet profoundly humble, once said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." And that is the danger of comparison. It makes you delay your life. You stop living your own values. You stop hearing your own voice. You wait for permission, or worse, approval. But here's the liberating truth. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not missing out. You are simply on a path that looks different, and that's okay. It's beautiful even. The Stoic lesson is clear. Compare yourself only to who you were yesterday, not to someone else's highlight reel, not to their wealth or their wins or their perfectly timed captions, but to you. Did you grow even a little? Did you speak more kindly? Did you catch one unhelpful thought and let it go? Did you choose calm over chaos, truth over trend, meaning over metrics? Then you're progressing. And in Stoicism, that quiet progress is everything. Seneca once wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." No one has it all figured out. not the ones you admire, not the ones you envy. We're all figuring it out, step by imperfect step. The point isn't to be the best. The point is to be better, to move forward with intention, to live this one life as honestly and fully as you can. So the next time you feel behind, ask, behind, compared to what? To a version of success that was sold to you, to a timeline that was never yours to follow, or to a standard that doesn't even bring you peace. Measure your life by depth, not speed, by presence, not performance, by purpose, not popularity. You are not here to chase someone else's path. You are here to walk your own with clarity, courage, and compassion. And that path, it won't always be fast, it won't always be visible, but it will be real. It will be yours. And in a world obsessed with more, choosing enough is revolutionary. Choosing yourself, your true self, is radical. That's what the Stoics teach us. That freedom isn't in applause, it's in alignment, not in the spotlight, but in the stillness of knowing you're living with integrity. You are not your titles, you are not your numbers, you are not the opinions of strangers, you are your character, you are your choices. You are your daily discipline to keep going, not for recognition, but for meaning. So let this be your reminder. You are not behind, you are on your path. You are learning how to live, and that is enough. Keep going, not faster, not louder, but truer. Compare yourself only to yesterday, and let your life be measured not by others, but by the quiet, steady voice that says, I am becoming who I was meant to be.